Hello and welcome. My name is Alan and we are back with more Eats, Shoots, and Leaves. Today we are starting the last chapter and we'll just be reading by the automatic way the book has it divided, so because they have like little quotation or comma marks, apostrophe marks showing where it stops in parts of the chapter. But let's get into this. Merely conventional sayings. On page 33 of the first edition copy of Eric Partridge's You Have a Point there that I have before me as I write. I borrowed it from the University of London Library. There is a marginal note made by a reader long ago. A marginal note? Yes. And I have been back to check and muse on it several times. Partridge, who is just about to elucidate the 17th application of the commas in fully developed complex sentences, is explaining that in this particular case it is difficult to formulate a set of rigid rules. My aim is to be helpful, not dogmatic, he explains. The following examples will, if examined and pondered, supply the data for which any person of average intelligence can, without strain, assimilate an unformulated set of working rules, at which the unknown long ago reader has written in old-fashioned handwriting up the side, "Rot, you lazy swine, Partridge." There are two reasons I have borne this ballpoint outburst in mind while writing this book. One is that if Eric Partridge wasn't comprehensive enough for some people, there is obviously naff-all chance for me. But there is also the fact that this startling effusion has lain within the pages of You Have a Point there, possibly for 50 years. Which is as long as the book itself has been a book. And this makes me wistful. The future of books is a large subject, and perhaps this is not a suitable place to pursue it. We hear every day that the book is dead and that even the dimmest child can find anything on the internet. Yet I'm afraid I have to stick my small oar in because, as I hope has become clear from the foregoing chapters, our system of punctuation was produced in the age of printing by printers and is reliant on the ascendancy of printing to survive. Our punctuation exists as a printed set of conventions. It has evolved slowly because of printing's innate conservatism, and is effective only if readers have been examined to appreciate the nuances on the printed page. The good news for punctuation is that the age of printing has been glorious and has held sway for more than half a millennium. The bad news for punctuation, however, is that the age of printing is due to hold its official retirement party next Friday afternoon at 5:30. I blame all the emails and text messages people say when you talk about the decline in punctuation standards. Well, yes. The effect of language on the electronic age is obvious to all, even though the process has only just begun and its ultimate impact is as yet unimaginable. I write quite differently in emails, people say, with a look of inspired and happy puzzlement, a look formerly associated only with starry-eyed returnees from alien abduction. Yes, I write quite differently in emails, especially in the punctuation. I feel it's okay to use dashes all the time and exclamation marks. And those dot 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 things. Ellipsis, I interject. I can't seem to help it, they continue. It's as if I've never heard of a semicolons. Dot dot dot. And everyone's doing the same. This is an exciting time for the written word. It is adapting to the ascendant medium, which happens to be the most immediate, universal, and democratic written medium that has ever existed. But it is all happening too quickly for some people, and we have to face some uncomfortable facts. For example, it is already too late to campaign for Heinz to add punctuation marks to the alphabeti spaghetti in the hope that all will be well. Having give up as readers of the printed word, and possibly even scribblers in margins, we may take for granted the processes involved in the traditional activity of reading. So let us remind ourselves, the printed word is presented to us in a linear way, with syntax supreme in conveying the sense of the words in their order. We read privately, mentally listening to the writer's voice and translating the writer's thoughts. The book remains static and fixed, and the reader's journeys through it. Picking up the book in the first place entails an active pursuit of understanding. Holding the book, we are aware of posterity and continuity. Knowing that the printed word is always edited, typeset, and proofread before it reaches us, we appreciate its literary authority. Having paid money for it, often we have a sense of investment and a pride of ownership, not to mention a feeling of general virtue. All of these conditions for reading are overturned by new technologies. Information is presented to us in a nonlinear way through an exponential series of lateral associations. The internet is a public space for which you visit and even inhabit. Its products is inherently impersonal and disembodied. Scrolling documents is the opposite of reading. Your eyes remain static while the material flows past. Despite all the opportunities to interact, we read material from the internet for CD-ROMs or whatever entirely passively because all the interesting associated thinking has already been done on our behalf. Electronic media are intrinsically ephemeral, are open to perpetual revision, and work quite strenuously against any sort of historical perception. The opposite of edited, the material on the internet is unmediated except by the technology itself, and having no price, it has questionable value. Finally, you can't write comments in the margin of your screen to be discovered by another reader 50 years down the line. Having said all this, there is no immediate cause for panic. If the book is dying, then at least it is treating its loyal fans and the bookshops to an extravagant and extended swan song. But when we look around us at the state of literacy, and in particular at all those signs for Bob's Motors and Antiques, It just has to be borne in mind that books are no longer the main vehicle for language in modern society, and that if our fate is in the hands of the barbarians, there is an observable cultural drift that can only make matters worse. As I mentioned in this book's introduction, by tragic historical coincidence, a period of abysmal undereducating in literacy has coincided with this unexpected explosion of global self-publishing. Thus, people who don't know their apostrophe from their elbow are positively invited to disseminate their writings to anyone on the planet stupid enough to double-click and scroll. Mark Twain said it many years ago, but it has never been more true. There is no such thing as the Queen's English. The property has gone into the hands of a joint stock company, and we own the bulk of the shares. Following the Equator, 1897. But then that ends that particular part. So yeah, the opening to the final chapter, talking about the dying age of the physical book, of writing. Not necessarily reading, but writing. How many people write in cursive? Or know how to? How many people write letters? Or know how to? These things may seem antiquated, but it's things that still, it's good to have in the back of the mind and go, I could do that if it came down to it. But yeah, just talking about grammar and punctuation and writing and books in general. So, in the age of text and the internet, but yeah. All those signs for Bob's, B-O-B-S apostrophe, which is highly incorrect, Bob's Motors. That's multiple Bob's Motors. And antiques, A-N-T-I-Q-U-E, comma, S, which makes no grammatical sense. But yeah. But with that, we'll go ahead and end this episode here. As always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.